draft. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County is celebrating a major milestone tonight on NFL Draft Day. The nonprofit just recruited 100 new mentors as part of the NFL-inspired campaign, The Big Draft. They actually exceeded their goal. They had 141 new bigs. Former NFL player and Wisconsin Badger Travis Beckham was an ambassador for the program, and he talked about the impact it has on kids in the community.
The organization is really about that one-to-one mentorship. It truly makes a difference. We've seen a difference with kids, education-wise. When they have a mentor in the program, they're more likely to go to college.
Wisconsin as a whole had a goal of recruiting 700 mentors.